I can explain what personal preference is, I have to take a step back and explain what Medicaid personal care assistant services or benefits are. The Division of Disability Services is responsible for administering all of the Medicaid personal care assistant benefits throughout the state of New Jersey. I'm going to refer to personal care assistant benefits as I go forward as PCA services or benefits. The purpose of PCA benefits or PCA services is to accommodate for long-term chronic illnesses or the maintenance of long-term health issues as opposed to short-term type of skilled care or acute illnesses, which would normally be covered over a Medicaid home health aid benefit as opposed to Medicaid PCA benefits. PCA benefits are essentially the time that it takes to provide hands-on assistance with activities of daily living. It could also mean substantial cueing or direction. So not only if somebody has a physical disability and can't perform activities of daily living, if somebody has a cognitive impairment as well and would need somebody to guide them or cue them to perform their activities of daily living. Activities of daily living consist of things like assistance with bathing, with dressing, with personal and oral hygiene skills or grooming, like brushing your teeth, shaving, toileting, things of that nature. If a Medicaid recipient is eligible for needing assistance in those areas, they can also qualify for getting assistance with meal preparation and light housekeeping. Housekeeping in the areas of the home that the participant is using, their bedroom, their bathroom, cleaning up after them in the kitchen, also doing laundry. These services all get prior authorization from our division. So what that means is in order to determine whether somebody's eligible for these services, they have to have an assessment, a PCA assessment, to determine their level of need. Once that assessment is completed, we determine how many hours per week that an individual is eligible to receive this assistance. The maximum that somebody can receive is 40 hours per week. So it's not a 24/7 type of care, it's 40 hours per week. And then what happens from that point is the participant in traditional Medicaid PCA is receiving those services from a home care agency who has a contract with Medicaid. And that home care agency would match the individual Medicaid recipient up with a home health aide, and that aide would go into the home and deliver the personal care services to the participant based on, essentially, most often they try to accommodate the needs of the participant, but when you're dealing with an agency, it's not always possible to meet the needs of a participant. So that's where personal preference comes into play. Personal preference started we had our 11-year anniversary in May, and it was developed as a research and demonstration project. New Jersey was one of 3 states chosen to participate in the research project that was funded by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation to test an alternative way of delivering these home care benefits. So, and in 2006, it became a permanent program. So essentially, participants 11 years ago started to have another option of how they could receive their personal care benefits. What we do in personal preference is take the number of hours of home care services that you qualify for and convert it into a monthly budgeted amount, a monthly cash allowance. And the participant of the program works with a consultant from the personal preference program to develop a monthly cash management plan, which is essentially a budget that tells us how they want to direct and manage their own personal care services. So all of the participants in our program get to choose who they want to hire to come in and work for them. They set up the pay rate for their worker. They determine the number of when the worker is going to work for them and the types of tasks that worker is going to provide for them. It's a completely consumer-directed program. So all the participants in the program have to be able to self-direct and manage their services. It gives them more choice and control over the services that are being provided to them. They can hire family members, they can hire people they know. If they choose to put an ad in the paper, they can put an ad in the paper and hire a stranger and train that person if they choose to do so. Participants are not expected to be able to manage all of this on their own. The state contracts with an agency. The current agency right now is Community Access Unlimited, and they do two major components of the program for us. The first is they hire consultants who are then trained by the state program office. Consultants then act as the point person for each participant in the program, offering them guidance and training them on how to participate in a consumer-directed program. So they give them the tools that they need to be able to self-direct and participate in a consumer-directed program. The consultant gives them guidance in developing their cash management plan, teaches them how to create the cash management plan, but essentially it's the participant who is making all the decisions about the care that they're receiving and how they're receiving that care. The other component of the program is the fiscal component of the program. We wouldn't expect participants to be able to handle money on their own. Not that anyone uses a checkbook anymore, but I never like balancing my own checkbook. So we don't expect people to know how to be able to do that. So we contract with Community Access Unlimited, and they act as the bookkeeping agent or the business agent for all the participants in the program. Participants send their timesheets to the fiscal agent biweekly, and paychecks are sent directly to the worker, taking out all of the appropriate taxes directly to the worker, so that the participant does not have to worry about any of these issues. Each participant in the program is set up as a business. It is created this way or developed this way so that the Medicaid dollars are not counted as personal income for each participant. If it counted as personal income, then they would end up losing all of their benefits. So the fiscal agent is really set up to offer business management services and fiscal management services to each of the participants who are set up essentially as the employer of record for the program. And having it set up that way, it really goes along with the notion that the participant is really in the driver's seat. They are the employer, they are the boss, and they are directing all of their care in regards to personal care services. Participants can also use a small portion of their funds for the purchase of goods and services. For example, if a participant lives in a home that doesn't have a washer and dryer, and his worker has to go to the laundromat, which is a half an hour away, and sit there for 4 hours and watch the spin cycle go around, they can save a portion of funds within their budget to purchase a washer and dryer. And then maybe over 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, whatever it is, the participant will be able to purchase a washer and dryer, and then their worker doesn't have to spend 4 hours out of the home doing laundry. That worker can now be cleaning the bathroom at the same time as doing the laundry or preparing a meal or personal care. So essentially what this program has done is it's offered greater choice and control for participants who don't fit into the the typical mold of a traditional PCA provider agency service.